Welcome back, everyone. I wanted to share some good news about insects coming out of South America, and this is an article that's come out from Entomology today. But first, like and subscribe, it helps the channel out a lot. Because if you don't, I'm going to build a trebuchet and launch honeybee hives into your bedroom window. Anyway, this is called Urban Wonder. Rare butterfly thrives in one of Ecuador's largest cities, and this is from uh, of research that was done in Loja, Ecuador, which, if you're not familiar, it's in southern Ecuador here, high up in the mountains, more than a mile high, um, up in the Andes. And this butterfly called Catasticta truncata, which is a pierid, is extremely rare. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the families of butterflies, Pierids are usually in English called sulfurs, the yellow and white sulfurs. So in the summer, when you see like yellow butterflies flitting around, usually in the tall grass, or if you have a garden and you tend to grow things like broccoli or cabbage or things like that, you'll frequently find these in your garden. Sometimes they're red, or sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're white, sometimes they're white with red spots, something like that. These are the pierids, the sulfurs, but not all of them are yellow and white. Some of them are quite colorful, especially the ones in South America. And there's a lot of rare species in the Andes Mountains in South America. So this research was done looking at the distribution of these Catasticta truncata, which is what you see here, these black, white, and yellow butterflies. And it turns out, although they're pretty rare out in nature, in this city of Loja, they're extremely common. And this research was done by Pablo Padron, a professor at the university there. And what is so crazy about this is this butterfly feeds on the larvae of this, the caterpillars of this, feed on only one species of rare mistletoe that only grows on one species of willow tree. And for whatever reason, there are a lot of these willow trees that have been planted around the city. So although in nature this is like a very very narrow niche, this butterfly that feeds on this one type of mistletoe that only grows on this one type of tree, within the city they've kind of artificially created an environment where this rare butterfly can thrive, and they find it all over the city. So as a conservation effort, they're trying to um, kind of popularize this, make this kind of an icon of the city. But more so for conservation, what this researcher has also found is that not only is this butterfly on this very narrow niche of only being able to grow on this one parasitic mistletoe that only grows on this one species of uh, Salix willow tree here. Here are the species. Um, but then there are a number of very species specific predators and parasitoids that only feed on the larvae of this butterfly, specifically the fifth instar larvae and the pupae. So by conserving this tree, which is the host for this mistletoe, which is the host for this butterfly, which is the host for this parasite, or this parasitic wasp, like there's all these layers of ecology that go into this very complicated web of life, of everything feeding on everything else, but all linked to this one fairly uncommon tree, which for whatever reason is very common in this city. And it's just really, really neat. You can see this butterfly is very beautiful. It's not particularly large. Um, and the article talks a bit more about how there's quite a lot of rare butterflies in the Andes Mountains, probably the highest concentration in the world. But I'll link to this article from Entomology Today in the description. It's really neat, and it's a good example of how research can be used really well for conservation. You've targeted a highly photogenic, highly charismatic species that people in the local area will care about, and which will increase the excitement for doing this sort of work. So I'll talk to you all later, but just some good news to get out there.